Hi, I'm Tash, and I'm the Church Engagement and Theology Director for the Fair Energy campaign, and I'm going to be talking to you today about the Switch Day training. What that training will include is I'm going to go through a quick introduction to the Fair Energy campaign, what the Switch Day is, how we started, what it's about. Then I'm going to go through our Switch Day resource pack, which is a resource available for you to run your own Switch Day. Then I'm going to go through the switching process, what will happen on your Switch Day. And then I'm going to briefly chat about what happens after the switch. But first, let's talk about the Switch Day. So the Switch Day is an initiative which is part of the Citizens UK Fair Energy campaign. The Fair Energy campaign is fighting for social and climate justice inside the energy market. The Switch Day itself is a community event which aims to empower people to switch onto fair, cheap and green energy suppliers. Through our research, we found that people weren't switching energy supplier regularly, and this means they were missing out on significant savings as well as being on more ethical and renewable suppliers. By switching to a fair energy supplier from one of the big 6 suppliers, you could save hundreds of pounds on your yearly energy bills. And moreover, you could save a significant amount of carbon dioxide from being emitted into the atmosphere. Who you source your gas and electricity from is the single biggest contributor to your overall carbon footprint, a whopping 25%. Therefore, changing your energy supplier to a renewable energy supplier is the single biggest action you can take to fight climate change. We've got 20 communities involved in the Switch Day scheme at the moment, all planning to run their Switch Day soon. As part of the scheme, each of those communities gets given a digital Switch Day resource pack. That resource pack has all of the information in that I'm going to tell you in this video and much more. It has a thorough history of the campaign, how it started and what's been the journey. It's got a how-to guide which explains exactly how you can run a Switch Day and how the switching process works, as well as comprehensive frequently asked questions. It's got information letters for switchers, as well as consent forms, which makes sure everybody's informed and legally covered for the Switch Day. It's also got an at-home switching guide. So if people don't want to switch on your Switch Day, they can take an at-home switching guide and do it at home. It's also got promotional material, posters, social media banners, everything you could possibly need to advertise your Switch Day. One particular community which used the Switch Day resource pack is St John's Hoxton, where the Switch Day was first piloted. St John's has now run 2 Switch Days and helped 26 households switch their energy supplier. Those households have seen anywhere from £50 worth of yearly savings to a whopping £600 yearly savings on their energy bills. And on top of that, according to Bulb's estimations, the church and congregation have reduced their carbon emissions by 80 tonnes per year. Moreover, St John's Hoxton itself, the church building, is on one of these renewable suppliers, and therefore they were able to take part in what's called our Switch Hub model. Through this model, they're able to benefit from a referral code scheme. St John's Hoxton had its own referral code for Bulb, so this meant that every time a household within the community chose to switch to Bulb using the referral code, the switcher would receive some money in energy credit, as well as St John's Hoxton receiving money in energy credit as well. And through this, a further £2,000 was raised for the church and community through this referral code system. So what did their Switch Day actually look like? Well, for St John's Hoxton, before COVID, they were having 2 morning services, and in between those 2 services was a half-an-hour cafe time. The Switch Day simply looked like a small handful of volunteers, about 5 people, staying in that cafe time, a few of them with laptops set to one side, and another couple sort of milling around talking to people about their energy provider and seeing if they'd be interested in switching. If somebody was interested in switching there and then on the Switch Day, they'd be taken over to one of the volunteers with a laptop, and then they'd start the switching process. The first step of the switching process is to provide the switcher with the information letter. This information letter talks through the switch day and what's going on, as well as giving them contact details of how to get extra help with their energy supplier. Once they've read this information letter, we then provide them with 2 consent forms. These consent forms make sure that the volunteer and the switcher are both legally covered for the process. And as well as that, they also help record some vital information for your switch day and for the Fair Energy campaign, such as if a referral code was used, who their previous supplier was, how much money they've saved, and if they saved carbon dioxide. We aim to make sure that 2 consent forms are completed, one kept by the switcher and one kept by the institution running the switch day. Once all of that's been read and signed, we then move on to USwitch. The reason we go on to USwitch is because the Fair Energy campaign isn't affiliated to the 3 suppliers it currently recommends: Bulb, Octopus and London Power. If you'd like more information as to why we recommend these 3 suppliers, that's all provided in the Switch Day resource pack. By going on to USwitch, we can show the switchers that an independent comparison website such as USwitch is also recommending these suppliers. So when we go on to USwitch, we click Energy to compare energy providers. We'll then be taken to this page and input the postcode, the household postcode. I've inputted just an example postcode here, and then we click Compare and Save. Once you've clicked Compare and Save, you'll then be asked a various amount of questions about the household and the energy tariff that they're on. I'm going to spare you going through those questions right at this very moment, but here's some examples of the kinds of questions that you'll be asked. Once you've answered all of the questions, you'll be given a selection of tariffs that the switcher can switch onto. Because the Fair Energy campaign is focused on fighting climate change and social justice, we go to the filter and we filter out all the unethical and non-renewable suppliers, which means we open up the filter tab and click on Green Plans and Warm Home Discount Support, and then Show Results. Once we've filtered out the non-ethical providers, we then get a selection of ethical providers that the switcher can switch to. As you can see, London Power, Octopus Energy and Bulb are all in that list. You can see that there's some suppliers not recommended by the Fair Energy campaign in that list, and there's a number of reasons why, all explained in the resource pack. Once we've had this selection, the switcher can then choose which provider they would like to switch to. At this point, this is where you can use your institution's referral code and use the referral code link to take you to the website that will get the referral code benefits for the community. If, however, you don't have a referral code, that's okay. You can just go straight to Bulb, Octopus or London Power's website. This is what the website for Bulb looks like. This is Octopus Energy, and this is London Power. I'm now going to take you through the switching process as if somebody was switching to Bulb. But don't worry, for both Octopus and London Power, the switching process is practically identical to the switching process for Bulb as well, so it's applicable across all 3. If somebody wanted to switch to Bulb, you would go onto the website and you would input their postcode into the search engine and click Get a Quote. Once you've clicked Get a Quote, you'll then be asked a series of questions about the house and the tariff, like if it's a flat or a house, how many bedrooms it has, whether it's a dual fuel or electricity only property, and you'll also be asked what sort of payment method is used. You'll be really pleased to know that Bulb, London Power and Octopus Energy all support keycard and pay-as-you-go methods, so they're available and accessible to all your community. Once you've filled out all of the questions, you'll then be given an average quote. And as you can see here, the example house that I've used could save roughly about £48 a year on their energy bills. And because it's paying by keycard, we know that it's saving just under £1 a week, which is great. Your switcher might look at this average quote and find that the amount they're paying is dissimilar to the amount that Bulb has assumed they're paying, and that's because it's taken averages. If that's the case, you can scroll down the page and go to Refine Your Quote. By doing this, it means you can get a more tailored quote to your switcher, which might provide them with a more accurate idea of how much money they'll be saving. Clicking on Refine Your Quote sends you to this page, which has just got a few more questions about their tariff, whether you've got an Economy 7 meter, what you're paying, what your energy usage is. If, however, the average quote looks to your switcher to be about correct and they wish to go ahead with the switch, All you've got to do is click Join Bulb, and as you can see, it just takes 2 minutes. When you click Join Bulb, you'll be taken to a page which asks for the switcher's personal information, their name, their date of birth, their contact information, and also their bank details. Once they've filled that all in, they'll click a button say Complete Your Switch, and then they'll be taken to this celebration page, and that's it. That's the switching process done. They're all switched over to Bulb now. All three of Bulb, Octopus and London Power will do your switch completely for you, so you don't need to get in touch with your old supplier or sort anything out. They will get in contact with you at a later date to ask for a new meter reading, but that's it. It's all in their hands. The switching process for all three providers in totals takes about 21 days, and for each provider you've got 14 days to cancel your switch at any point at all. We think it's really important that communities keep running switch days, even in their context and current restrictions. And that's because people are facing an increase in energy bills. As well as that, they're also seeing a decrease in their income, which is making it really hard to get by. On top of that, as people are turning down their thermostat to try and save money this winter, they're also increasing their risk of the long-term health damage from colds, flus, and other respiratory viruses. This is why we're really encouraging you to get innovative and get creative and think of ways that you can run your switch day and help your community switch onto cheaper, fairer, and greener energy deals, saving themselves money as well as saving some CO2. I really hope everything goes well with your switch day. Thanks so much for listening. All the best and good luck.